minutes away from 8 o'clock. Senator Malcolm Roberts joins us on the program from One Nation. Morning, Malcolm. How are you, mate?
Good morning, Marcus. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Look, I've spoken a lot on the program this week about our manufacturing sector. Look, we need to make our economy capable of recovering from COVID-19. It's a complex issue, I understand that, but, what do you think we should be doing, mate?
Well, it is a sad and scary story, actually, because it's now recognised internationally that we've lost our economic security. We can't make protective equipment. We can't get our supplies for handling the virus. We don't make cars anymore, basic manufactured goods, tools, construction and mining equipment. What we need to do is to harness the power we have in this country with our people and our resources. And to revive manufacturing and agriculture, the government needs to get back to doing its job to serve the people and to create an environment for investing and making. Instead of just simply relying on digging and shipping, which we need to continue to do, minerals and energy, we need to reform tax, we need to cut regulations, we need to build infrastructure, and we need to restore skills, particularly apprenticeships, and restore the TAFE system.
Well, absolutely. And what we do need to do, Malcolm, is we need to value add the stuff we take out of the ground. Otherwise, we'll fall further and further behind. I mean, the latest indicator for manufacturing 2020, the Manufacturing Self-Sufficiency Index, ranks Australia almost, in fact, last among developed countries, for God's sake. We're ranked 59th. We're somewhere between Kazakhstan and Lebanon. We're not adding value to our primary production. Yeah,
you're absolutely correct. And the reason why is in part because of the things I've mentioned, the tax that favours multinational companies, and also that's the company tax, and also the ridiculous regulations. But what we've done is we've gutted our energy system. We've still got the world's cheapest, high-quality coal, very good, clean coal. And what we're doing is we're raising our energy prices artificially through these stupid regulations and this climate nonsense. And what we do now is we export our coal to China, and they sell electricity using our coal at 8 cents a kilowatt hour. What we do here is we sell it at 3 times that price. Our same coal, it's got less distance to travel. What we need to do is build coal-fired power stations, end the ridiculous subsidies on intermittent energies, and that's what they are, wind and solar, are intermittent, unreliable, and expensive. We need to remove these climate policies. We need to build a hybrid Bradfield scheme in Queensland, because that comes with a hydro power system. And we need to stop the Queensland state government, for example, stealing $1.5 billion every year from every energy user, and that's just basically a tax. They make that as a profit, and it's really a tax. So that's crippling our manufacturing and crippling our ability to add. We've now got aluminium smelters have shut near your way, down in Kurri in the Hunter.
Yes.
Looks like it's under threat at Tomago, also in the Hunter, certainly in Geelong, and possibly now in Boyne Island. So what we'll do is we'll dig the bauxite out of the ground and then ship it off to overseas, and we won't even get the aluminium out of our country.
Well,
it's just ridiculous.
Well, that's right. That's the value added that we're talking about, that we seem to be essentially either pricing ourselves out of, or basically because we're lazy and we don't want to look at any other way of perhaps taking advantage of this rich mineral nation and land that we have here in Australia. I mean, look, manufacturing, back in the 1980s, manufacturing was one of our biggest, if not the biggest employer, at 17% of the total employment pie. Now it's sadly just sitting down there at 6%. No wonder our economy's hungry. I mean, that's how much less of the pie it's getting.
That's right. 50 years ago, Marcus, and it's so pleasing to see you using hard data, 50 years ago, manufacturing was 30% of our gross domestic product. Now it's just 6%. And blue-collar workers must be shaking their heads in absolute disbelief of what's going on. Yeah. But I reckon every middle-class person in this country, all blue-collar workers, all small businesses, need to be very, very scared and worried about the Labor Party in particular, because it's driving the agenda for renewables.
Well, that was my next point. Labor are supposed to be supporting the blue-collar worker. What are they doing about it?
Well, Senator Stirl and Gallagher, Glenn Stirl, the wonderful guy, and Alex Gallagher from South Australia, Stirl from Western Australia, they're genuinely trying to stand up for workers like old Labor. And in One Nation, Marcus, we always give credit where credit's due. But Fitzgibbon now, Joel Fitzgibbon, a member for the Hunter, has stood up and said the Greens have infiltrated Labor. Hello, Joel. We've been saying that for decades. And what's happening now is we've got new Labor, which is not like old Labor. And now we've got a confirmation of new Labor because Albanese is rebuking Fitzgibbon and confirming that Labor will continue to abandon workers. In selling out to the Greens, Labor has completely confirmed that it opposes coal mining jobs, opposes manufacturing jobs, opposes blue-collar jobs. They just want to go off and bend genders and all the rest of it. It's completely absurd.
All right, look, go easy on my mate Joel. He's the hope for the side. I think with Mr. Fitzgibbon, I've been very adamant. I like Anthony Albanese, but, Anthony is simply too nice. I really believe that. And Joel, perhaps, I think he should have higher aspirations, considering he speaks better sense than a number of his colleagues on the future of our energy sector and resources and mining. And, he's one of those that you're right, will not be infiltrated by a green ideology, thank God. That's why I say that Joel Fitzgibbon is the hope for the side, and as soon as Anthony perhaps realises this, he maybe needs to get out of the way.
That's the problem. That's the problem you've identified, Marcus. It doesn't matter what Joel thinks, because Anthony Albanese has cut the legs out from underneath Joel Fitzgibbon, and no one stood up to support Joel publicly, no one. And they just let it all slide through. So basically what Albanese's done is undermined the Hunter Valley, undermined all industry, and undermined small business in this country because he's pushing absurd policies that are driving up energy prices ridiculously.
Don't hold back, Malcolm, okay? Don't hold back, whatever you do. Tell me about this. A 23-year-old university student is suing the government for failing to disclose the risk climate change poses to Australian super and other safe investments in government bonds. What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This is just the ABC putting out another story, but unfortunately it's true, but putting out another story in favour of their climate alarm crusade. But you know what, Marcus? You know where I stand on this. Yeah. But I actually welcome this woman doing this young lady, 23-year-old, because we need to bring this issue to court. Because in court, they have to give hard evidence, empirical data, under oath.
Yeah.
We've never had that in this country. And the second thing that she wants to change the way the government handles climate. We want them to do exactly that. We want them to start using data. And, the third thing, so I actually support her getting into court, but what a ridiculous thing she's doing because it shows her entitlement mentality. She wants government to protect people from their own investment decisions. It's just another stunt, again, without the data.
All right, and look, I know you're really chomping at the bit to get into this. The New South Wales Police Commissioner, as we know, has fined BLM protesters. It is pleasing. The law has been enforced, including Mr. Padrick, who the leader of the so-called BLM movement here in New South Wales, at least. I thought he was thrown in the back of a paddy wagon, but he was basically given a green carpet right into the bowels of Parliament House. Don't pass, he certainly bypassed jails, and he got a $1,000 fine. But I don't know. What do we make of this, Malcolm?
Well, didn't he get the help from Greens MPs David Shoebridge and Jenny Leong to get into Parliament House?
I didn't see Mr. Shoebridge, but definitely Jenny Leong, and she was there on the news last night justifying this, well, at least trying to justify it. It even had the New South Wales Premier, who'll join us on the program soon. Gladys was even shaking her head. She didn't quite understand how that could happen.
But there is a wonderful positive side to this because the New South Wales Police Commissioner stood up last week and said that he will be enforcing the law and requiring police to enforce the law. And that's exactly what the police force need to do. Up here in Queensland, we have a Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, who is soft on criminals and hard on farmers and producers. And she just invites people, and we got 30,000 people turning out to a Black Lives March protest last month. Just crazy.
Yeah, well, and then she closes borders and worries about the importation, if you like, of COVID-19. Meanwhile, you're right, that's that strange, lily-livered, I guess, more mentality of preferring people's civil liberties and their rights to protest over everybody's health. That's you're going to fester in your own nest, I think, up there. Look, I don't know. Maybe that. I think as far as Queensland's concerned, there needs to be a much stronger opposition, Malcolm, because Anastasia seems to be able to be doing what she wants, and she's completely blocked out Sydney now, as we know, with the latest news that's come through, and off she goes, mate. She's on a tirade up there.
Well, we haven't got any strong opposition here in the LNP because Deb Frecklington is really just the previous opposition leader, Tim Nichols, with a skirt, and what's happening is the LNP are pushing similarly absurd policies to energy and climate policies as the Labor Party. And the Nationals are now following our lead and pretending, well, we're actually opposing the UN and what it's doing in this country. Yeah. The Nationals, realising that we're stealing their votes, are now pretending to oppose the UN. But the same people in the National Party are meekly following the LNP, which signed which the coalition signed the Paris Agreement, which is gutting energy. John Howard and the Nationals at the time, John Anderson, signed committed our country to complying with the Kyoto Protocol, the UN Kyoto Protocol, and that's decimated farming.
We've all been sold a dud. We've all been sold a dud on this climate change. We know that. Malcolm, good to have you on the program. Let's talk again next week. Thank you.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Marcus.
All right.